We've previously learned how to hand edit HTML without having the editor modifying our changes. Now, let's have a look at some of the advanced editor options that let us make additional changes without needing to resort to editing the HTML directly. If we go into the plugin manager and locate the TinyMCE plugin, we can change the parameters to make the editor more flexible. As we've seen before, we can choose the level of functionality, and that comes with a preset number of extra functions depending on which one you choose. The editor attempts to clean up the HTML code according to its own model whenever it starts up or you attempt to save the content. We can disable this by turning off the two code cleanup parameters here. This lets us make some hand edits without the editor getting in the way, but it also prevents the editor from cleaning up its own messy code. Sometimes the editor will generate unoptimized code and will rely on these functions to clean up its own code. If we disable them, the HTML code becomes messy or corrupt over time. Unfortunately, it's just not a good idea to disable these checks if you have an occasional need to do some hand editing of the HTML code. If there's a particular element that you need and the editor attempts to remove it each time you use it, you can add it to the Extended Valid Elements parameter. For example, you can add object, embedded, or other elements that the editor typically removes. If you are in need of advanced editing in the TinyMCE editor, it's best to turn on Extended mode. You can then use more of the advanced parameters below. In this unit, we'll be doing more work with the advanced editor when we talk about adding tables. As you can see, the functionality for adding tables is enabled here. The rest of the functions unlock additional access to HTML elements such as divs in the form of layers, the non-breaking space, and other elements. It is rare to use these features, but they are available if you or your web designer sees a specific technical need to use them in your content. In practice, we typically enable the extended mode for the editor so we have these options available. While we typically don't use them and try to stick hard to using standard elements and whatever our template supports for styles inside the editor, we do sometimes have to use an extended feature here and there. A good content editor will always try to keep design outside of their content. It is almost always preferable to have a special style created in the template than to try to do a lot of hand-edited HTML or CSS right in the article or module content itself.